Welcome, Western New York and the rest of the world on YouTube. Welcome to WNYRC Spotlight. 101 RC is what I want to review. So you want to get into RCing. Maybe this is brand new to you. Like it was to me, not even a year ago, maybe just about a year ago. What does some of this stuff mean? RTR, rollers, those type of things. So RTR would be a ready-to-run RC. Most packages, you might see at a lot of hobby stores if you have one locally or if you're looking online. Maybe even if you're in Facebook Marketplace, you see people RTR. That's ready to run. That means maybe all you'll need is your own battery, right? It's got the components that you need to run that RC, whatever it may be. A basher for crashing things is, you know, there's so much terminology that I feel like is new to people if you're just brand new to it. So things that you'll need for something that's a roller. It's got wheels and it probably doesn't have the electronics in it. So you're gonna have to buy some of the electronics. I'm gonna talk about those acronyms a lot of people hear. ESC is the electronic steering control. And you'll need a motor, something to run it, and you need servos. A servo is what turns the wheels, or it may turn or activate something else. And I'm going to start off with a very bare bones Tt02, a Tamiya Tt02 for racing kind of speed. More of a, could be a rally car, could be a street car. And all that this has to run is you need a motor. You need a ESC, which takes that receiver, and you need a receiver as well. So like you've got your remote control that you're holding yourself. It needs to have something that actually takes that reception and that takes it, and that's your receiver. Your receiver goes into your electronic steering control. That's going to then determine what you're doing with the remote, and will push that information out to either the motor or your servo for turning, or on a bare bones. That's kind of where I'll keep it today. So let's see here if I'll just show you how it laid out in my Tt02 so that this maybe not be as foreign to you. So for this instance, I'm going to have mysterious radio in my hand, right? This is my receiver, which is bound or binded to the specific remote that I'm using. Some come with a specific, it's only bound to that remote. Others, you can buy a remote that binds to multiple RCs. This is something you'll have to think about if you wanted to upgrade. So these receivers and your remote controls have what are called channels, and something that's maybe a rock crawler, something that you want to have a lot of bells and whistles, or even really, if you think about construction vehicles like RC excavators and those type of things, airplanes, those, you need a lot of different channels. Each channel is going to be a different button or an active thing that you're going to be doing on the remote to trigger something to happen. But on this bare bones, you can have really just like a 2-channel remote system, 1 channel to turn it, the wheels, and 1 channel to activate your motor, which is right here. So this one has 3 channels on it. It's a 3-channel. If I wanted to throw something else in there, I could. Reception comes in here. It's going to be pushed out to, this thing here is an ESC. This one here is a quick run Hobby Wing 1060. And these, depending on your ESC, can actually vary the type of battery that you might be able to use. Some ESCs can handle a higher voltage on a battery. So that might be also something that you're thinking about, especially if you're buying something that doesn't come with the electronics in it, or something you're looking to upgrade over time. You need to be conscious of like, all right, how fast do I want to go? Like the higher the volts, the faster your vehicle will go. But if you don't have electronics that's able to handle that high voltage, this stuff could just catch fire and completely melt. Case in point, not that I did the high voltage here, but this thing is completely melted and was just kind of mudding around with this one. This one can hold a 3-cell or 3S LiPo. And this one can too for certain gearing. But anything beyond that, these things will fry or catch fire. So I'll talk about lipos because that's what I like. There's 2-cell lipos, 2S, 3S is a 3-cell lipo, and they go up from there. The more, like 3S is 11, pretty much a 12-volt battery, and a 2S lipo, I believe, is like a 7.4 volt. They'll both work on this one here, but you're going to get more output and speed from that 3S lipo. I could always go a little bit more in depth with that. One quick thing I want to point out with your batteries too. So a battery. This, I have, my first purchase was a Traxxas vehicle. So I went with Traxxas batteries. They have this certain specific adapter. There will be other brands of batteries and different vehicles that come with different types of battery adapters. You might have to buy adapters to kind of, you know, make or mesh with what type of setup you have. Hobby Wing comes in. I don't have one exactly here because I spliced and created and just made these into Traxxas wires. Hobby Wing has a different type of connector, you know, Red Cats and those type of things, different brands. It's another thing to think about. Look at the prices and the price range of what type of battery you want. See what type of connector it has and just know that type of information. So it's gonna vary if you buy different types of vehicles. Again, ready to runs might come. Make sure you're looking at a ready to run. Might not come with a battery, or it may come with a battery. And obviously you're gonna need a charger that works with your battery as well. So not have to go too much into that. Really, your other output, this blue thing here is turning, that's a servo. It's gonna, when you give it a reception, it's just gonna simply turn left or right and turn your wheels. I've got to screw that in. When I was playing with it, it actually came out while I was at like top speed, so that was fun. Simple screw though, and I'll be able to get that back in. Here's your motor. Motors, different types of motors, different types of things you need to know about motors. This is a brushed motor. There are brushless motors. Anyone in the construction field using a drill, you'll know even drills come in brushed or brushless type setups. So this is all, I mean, this stuff is all waterproof. That's another thing to keep in mind when you're purchasing things. There's different turns. A 12-turn motor is going to be faster, and it means this spins 12 times every time your wheel does one full rotation. It takes 12 turns of your motor to make your wheel spin once. Inside of a motor, there are, some people call it like a 2-pole or a 2-slot type of motor. The lower the number, the faster RPM you're going to get. So higher speeds. So this is a 12-turn Traxxas Titan motor. It's a 550, which they have 550s. It's like the size of the canister of the motor. You can go up into 750s for certain larger vehicles. Will up it, you know, into higher, and vice versa. You'll have lower numbers for smaller batteries. This has a 2-turn or 2-slot motor in it, so it's got a higher RPM. But what you lose is your torque or power, you know, on your wheels of torque. So you increase that number, you might have a motor. It still might be a 12-turn 550. But it has a 5-slot or a 5-turn motor. It's gonna not be running as high RPM, and it will have more torque. So you might be in a crawler, climbing, mudding, those things. You're gonna want that type of torque in your vehicle. So keep that in mind. That's a quick overview on the motors. And that's the motors are connected directly into your ESC. Your wiring, you could look into videos on how to do that. But I wanted to do a quick overview on just some of the fundamentals. This would be a ready to run system. My battery goes over here. Besides, I'd fix up that issue there, but pretty much ready to run setup. Let me think here. I know I want to cover a whole bunch here, but I think I covered a bunch in a small amount of time. I like crawlers. Let's see, that's still the 12-turn. I got one here. Bought this one thinking it would be good for my faster Tt02. It's a 550. It's a 10-turn, so you think it would be faster. This has 5 slots. it's got more torque. It doesn't have as high-end power. This 12 turn goes faster than this 10 turn. You would think 10 turns per one motor or one spin of your tire would actually go faster, but those slots brings down the RPM. There's brushless systems that are even more closed off canisters, more waterproof, can really go through real murky waters and not have any issues. Those go by like kilovolts. If your kilovolts equals your RPMs, just be aware if you're buying something that's not ready to run. This is the world that you're going to be looking into if you're wanting to upgrade, continue the hobby, or just get knowledgeable of it. There's maintenance, you know, just want to make sure your stuff's clean. Ball bearings, right? Things have bearings in it, and if you're running in water, are you cleaning or air drying out those bearings so that you're not continually purchasing that? You can clean out your brushed motors a little bit, make sure things are greased up. I mean, that's kind of common sense. But I mean, you've got shocks you could be working on. There's shock oils. I love it. I mean, my shop here is kind of small, but and disorganized, but yeah, I have a great time with it. I love it. I love this aspect of it just as much as I do going out and having fun with everything. And everything's so endless. I mean, lights, you can do whatever you want. And I think that's just kind of the point I want to drive home. If you've got somebody, maybe it's a kid or someone that you might know is really hands-on, this might be a great hobby for them. They can play and have fun and also use their mind, right? And just tinker with things or have their imagination go, I want this to be something, right? Lights. You can add things like winches, and those are those extra channels and things that you can add, and you can use your remote to be doing all sorts of fun stuff. So that's pretty much about it. If you're on Facebook Marketplace and someone's trying to sell you just a roller, you're gonna need to be knowledgeable of kind of what you want to put in there, or if not, go to your local hobby store. That's where I learn a lot of stuff. I haven't even been doing this for over a year, and just learning every day, having fun with it. And I hope if you're not into it already, maybe this will help you get into it. So just want to shed some light and encouragement on you. And if you have any questions, comments, I would love to hear it below. Or if you think I'm wrong on something, please let me know. Again, I'm always learning all the time. So, all right, I'll cut off here. I appreciate it, and I'll see you on the next video. Later.